Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again. So today, we're going to talk about Trump's collapsing trade deal with South Korea. Back in July, just before Trump's deadline for the reciprocal tariff mess, Trump announced a trade deal with South Korea. As is typical of Trump's announcements, there wasn't actually a trade deal, more like concepts of a trade deal. He announced it on social media, saying, quote, "The deal is that South Korea will give to the United States $350 billion for investments owned and controlled by the United States and selected by myself." Now it's September, and the concepts of that trade deal are in doubt. President Lee of South Korea said, quote, "If we were to withdraw $350 billion in the manner that the U.S. is demanding and to invest this all in cash in the U.S., South Korea would face a situation as it had in the 1997 financial crisis. That crisis led to conglomerate bankruptcies, devalued currency, and just an overall bad time. Now, the South Korean president did seem to indicate they might be willing to move forward if there was a currency swap. A currency swap gets kind of technical, but picture it like a contract to exchange one currency for another at a set rate over an extended period of time. In this case, South Korea really doesn't have the foreign exchange reserves to spare to do what Trump is asking. That was completely evident when Trump made his announcement. There's no way of knowing whether Trump would agree to those terms. He might get upset at what he sees as South Korea going Darth Vader on him. I am altering the concepts of a deal. Pray I don't alter it further. Lutnick's position back then was basically South Korea should take the deal or pay the tariffs. Reminder, you actually pay the tariffs, not South Korea. Now, some people are going to ask whether events in Georgia with South Korean workers had anything to do with this. President Lee seemed to go out of his way to talk about how the U.S. had apologized. Personally, the president doth protest too much, methinks. There was probably some influence, but the raw economic numbers say this would have been a risky undertaking to begin with. This Georgia incident probably just added a new dimension. President Lee said, quote, "Reaching detailed agreements that guarantee commercial reasonableness is now the central task, yet it also remains the biggest obstacle. The U.S. and South Korea are longtime allies and have historically had a pretty strong relationship. And in any other timeline with any other administration, I'd be pretty certain this would be eventually worked out. But under any other administration, we wouldn't even be talking about the major disruption to the relationship with a critical economic and military ally. The U.S. is going to be paying for this nonsense for years and years to come." Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.